Jehst. He's like top 3 rappers in the UK. He's got this effortless sort of style where he sounds like he could rap circles around you. All of his albums are classics, to be honest, but Return of the Drifter is iconic if you know anything about the scene. It was an important landmark in the sort of like noir style boom bap shit in the UK in the early 2000s. I've heard many people say that this album is the UK's Illmatic, and I get it. There's a similar kind of thing with this album and Illmatic, where it's the only album in the artist's catalogue where they sound so young, and they're just going the fuck off, and the experience is so raw, yet so calculated. Also like Illmatic, this album paints a very clear picture of the artist's environment. I think these are the two main things that create the Illmatic comparison, but also just the fucking quality of it as well. If you look at the timeline, it really does feel like this album stepped up the game in the UK. And I guess also the fact that the album isn't bloated at all and has an under 40-minute runtime. Hi-hats are used in pretty interesting jazzy ways on these beats, something I never really was that cognizant of until I started making this review. Really, this album basically is a jazz rap album as well. It just embodies it in a pretty distinct way. Every song here samples jazz in some kind of way and makes like really unique beats. There's a general sentiment of this album of just wanting things to be brighter and for everyone to be in a better place and in a less dull and shitty situation. So much imagery of the UK being a dull and miserable place. It's pathetic fallacy. It reflects the feelings and attitudes of the residents and of course Jehst himself. Most of this album was produced by Jehst, which just adds to the man's level of talent because the beats on this album are truly in their own lane. But we also got Harry Love, who produced both Alcoholic Author and Staircase to Stage, which are two of the best beats on the album. So big ups Harry Love. This album is generally considered to be one of the biggest classics of underground UK hip hop, and it deserves it entirely. I have loved this album for many years. It's top 3 UK hip hop albums ever, definitely. Jehst's usage of metaphor might be unparalleled. He can fill a whole song with them and make it feel like a mystical experience. Many of his bars have double meanings. His rhyme scheme is fucking sick. He's just an amazing MC, simple as. He's fucking sick. I think I just need to start going through the tracks to be able to voice what I find so good about this album. We start with High Plains Drifter, which just has the most amazing jazz samples ever, with this hi-hat being hit, fitting snugly into the beat, and this chill as fuck piano. The song is so fun, feels like you're taking big old steps with the rhythm. On this song, Jehst is really just introducing himself and having fun. It's such a blast to start the album off with amazing wordplay and rhyme scheme and flow and all of it, the whole fucking lot. He starts off his verse in the most fun way possible with the line, "I walked in the saloon at high noon." Jehst, frankly, he sounds like a cheeky monkey on this song. I've always thought so. Proper cheeky monkey on this song. He's kind of boasting a lot about how his bars are too deep and they go over the heads of a lot of man. He creates mental imagery with his bars on some shit that most can't comprehend. But there are also certain bars here that speak of things not being quite right. How he drowns his misery in drugs and booze. And also some cool bars about weathering the storm of hate and disapproval that comes his way and standing strong on his individuality. It's the kind of song where it just seems like he's saying fucking anything, but a lot of things are metaphorical and paint out a picture of his environment, lifestyle, the people he hangs out with, and have a similar purpose in painting out his attitude, and essentially it works to introduce Jehst's personality to the audience. Little things on this song I appreciate so much, like when Jehst says, "I love the crackle on the old vinyl." The beat cuts for just a second for some vinyl crackle. Sampling here is really great as well. Very fitting that there's a Nas sample on the track, like "Traveling Through the Mind" one time, because this album spiritually is like the UK's Illmatic. I don't think he was trying to contrive a UK Illmatic, don't get me wrong, that would be kinda gay, but it just worked out that way. I think this song just has one of the most unique and distinct beats I've ever heard. Love how light and just calm it is, and how much it does sort of embody the feeling of a jazz session. It's fucking classic, and one of the best openers ever really. I probably listened to it like 1,000 times or something. Skit is the first of 2 interludes. Shit is absolutely off the wall. I love it. Mad dark jazzy stuff kicking off all over the place with great scratching and samples of Jehst rapping as we emerge from the thick smoke. It's got like low piano keys and constant hi-hats in the back of the mix. And of course the boom bap beat is slamming down really heavy. This interlude is just a really raw display of realness. Feels so authentic and creative. Awesome stuff. City of Industry samples a Jehst song, which makes a really strange beat, but it works. A song that's on some Ted Kaczynski sort of shit. Jehst grew up in an industrial town. On this album, he often makes reference to things like grey clouds clouding his vision or blocking out the sun. And there's a kind of dullness he points out. The closer you are to an industrial district, the more miserable the environment around you is. And that's the sort of shit that's influencing Jehst and everyone around him. And it's something he wishes to draw attention to on this album. The imagery on this song is on some survival shit, trying to fight against the odds of coming up in a place like this, really always feeling like a stranger to it. An environment like this is something you are subject to. It's not a home or anything like that. He makes a point out of the city being dead, but everyone still lives there and goes about their business. Just the city as a being itself has died. He says that maybe you'll just say that he is cynical and hand wave him away and go about the city like nothing is wrong. But what he is painting here will convince you. Stark images, looking for something brighter, jaded bitterness. This is what is to be found in this song. He wants something better, and so through his art he attempts to be the change he wants to see in the world. Those who will listen may benefit, but the enormity of the city is difficult to meaningfully fight back against and damage. Bluebells has always been pretty wild to me, because it sounds exactly like lo-fi hip-hop that started coming like over a decade later, and it's just some interlude. Jehst is so goated that his interludes are innovative. His interludes are foundational staples that invented new genres, but yeah, it's quite nice. There is a feeling of blues in the mellowness of the tune, and the sample and all that speaks of an underlying sadness we haven't had a massive taste of yet. Bit of foreshadowing, you could say. 1979 has some of my favourite lyrics on the album. A very serious song. In the first verse, Jehst talks about his alcoholism and bringing himself back from the point of suicide, and talking about how he began fighting back against what oppresses him. True to form, my sin results in self-doubt. Look into my eyes, I don't need to spell it out, you can see it. How I tripped and fell down and picked myself up, turned myself round from the cliff's edge, and staggered home like a misled pisshead and put up a fight till my fist bled. These are some of the most straight up and clear in meaning lyrics on the album. The track has this great ODB sample too, and a massive melancholy in the beat. There's tons of lyrics I could go over here. Jehst says he is no bigger than the sum of his inscriptions, or the extent of his convictions, basically saying that his poetry and ability to make the audience believe what he's saying is all he has. He goes on to essentially say through metaphor that he is forced to express this through rap, maybe due to lack of academic success, or just simply that for one reason or another, this is what Jehst has talent in. Continuing on the documenting of his environment, he spits the bars, I choke on lead until my spit's red. When I step outside to get a quick breath of fresh death, now there's no air left. I choke on lead until my spit's red is also a good metaphor for his creative process, the pain and anger that he spills into his wordplay. Lead of course referring to the lead in his pencil. The lyrics on this song are overall quite harsh. He paints a picture of things being very hard. In the second verse he delves further into alcoholism, gagged and bound with no hope of getting out. There's some great bars here that describe Jehst's attitude. Like the weather now, I'm unpredictable. My hate's bitter but my love's unconditional. And the way the song ends too lends a lot to our understanding of Jehst. A bittersweet song in my heart, I take heavy steps. The hard-headed Jehst climbs his own Everest. So till the very end, I won't ever rest. I'll serenade my angel with every breath God sends, in remembrance of lost friends. Whenever my top 10 drops, I know what went on then. Provokes me to focus ahead, close my eyes and get close to the dead. I'm the ghost that's meant to be released from limbo, between two worlds like the thief at the window. That ending line is the perfect summary of what this song is all about. Jehst is weighed down so heavily in this song, and he is consumed by self-destructive habits, yet he also fights back against this depression and the world around him, primarily through his creative process, his art. He is pulled back and forth between these worlds, at one moment standing strong in defiance, and at another drowning away his miseries. Deep song. The Trilogy has this hard as hell beat. It basically just has the energy of a cypher, essentially just another raw display of authentic, real hip-hop shit. The three of them just focusing on wordplay and having a laugh rather than trying to make any points. On this song we have Ricochet, or Rick Branson, as he is also known, from Universal Soldiers, who I rate quite a bit. He's got like a road thing going on. And then you got Tommy Evans, who was another miscreant skulking around the underground scene back in the early 2000s. I rate him, but he does have a bit of a weird voice. Jehst's verse is the best one here, as to be expected. Reckon I'll just go over some lines that I like. I catch where the skyline's ashtray grey but shine amber, and always stay cloaked below the wide-angled spy camera, mind tangled by the Thai ganja. My words rep the downtrodden like a strike banner. Also, I gotta mention this line. Put in LSD in your salt shaker, and if it's in bad taste, well fuck it, that's my own flavour. Cool track. I guess just not a lot to delve into in terms of meaning though. Next we got Alcoholic Author, which is another very serious track. It starts out with a sample of the movie The Warriors, like this is the life I got left, you know what I mean. Works very well in the context of the album. The beat on this song feels so driven and possessed with hunger and anger. As you could guess from the title, this song carries on the theme of alcoholism. The lyrics here fucking tear at you though. My physical form's a metaphor for disorder. Absorb the trauma, my status is borderline. And I'm short of time, sure to find my keeper, alive within reach of the reaper. This song very much reaffirms all of the themes previously mentioned on this album. Only here he's coping the worst, and it feels like he's being much more like a parent about everything. Like he really wants us to just understand with this one. There's still plenty of metaphor and shit and great wordplay, don't get me wrong. I just mean to say there's a desperation in the track. The song kind of hurts, like it's just so downtrodden and defeated. And here's some other lyrics I like. I seek change like a busker, but things stay much the same. Again, this delivers a point I demonstrated he was making earlier, but here it's much more plain. My whole world's overcast, so I live in the dark. I adapt now my vision is sharp. Go home to my house made of glass and throw stones for a laugh. This is a great representation of his destructive tendencies. Many great artists tend to deal with destructive habits. It's very interlinked with creation, and I think Jehst knows this because he's always weighing up these two things on this album. Also, I gotta mention the scratches in the middle of this song. It's such a tasty banquet for someone like me who is obsessed with this era of UK hip hop, pulling many lines from classic tracks and mixing them to be like a chorus. A few being Jehst himself, mixing Smirnoff with Dandelion and Burdock, all that shit. That's from a classic Task Force song, The Cosmic Gypsies. Awesome stuff. Then we have Staircase to Stage. Man, this beat is fucking amazing. One of my favourites on the album. Some pretty like complex piano playing that fits so snugly on this boom bap beat. It's crazy. To me, this beat is quite hectic. Makes me think of a cluttered mind dealing with a lot of stress. It has this Rake 1 sample looping over and over at the start and in between verses. From Staircase to Stage, Minimum Wage, but soon to get an article in Rap Page. Just like repeating it to yourself over and over. I get it, man. Drive. Expending all the mental energy to make some dope shit and be recognized. Jehst gives this fucking amazing verse on this song where he talks about being broke and the integrity in his bars compared to the commercial death of hip hop that has him so disenfranchised with the genre. I'm staying hardcore while you're playing the pop star, but what for? I'm not sure. A couple of bottles of wine and Calvin Klein in your sock drawer, thinking you got yours. Nowadays hip-hop's a lost cause. Fuck rapping, I'd rather mop floors or flip burgers than pay these hypocrites my lip service. So awesome, man. So many great one-liners in Jehst's verse. Fuck tags, I leave my name in the crop circles. Funny stuff. I remember how much I used to like soy out about this verse. I mean, it is fucking awesome, so I don't blame myself. Then the second verse is taken by Jehst, an American rapper. I used to find that his Americanness broke the tone of this song and album even, but as time has gone on and I've checked out some of Jehst's stuff, I've come to appreciate it more. I mean really, he's here because Jehst relates to him. They're both keeping it real, Jehst in the smog and Jehst from across the pond. I like his part where he's like, picture me doing a backspin or pulling a Mac 10. I've been rapping since the golden age. Shit, you was whack then. The song goes so hard, man. Absolute classic. Makes a good deal of points that build up our perception of Jehst, while also just being a really fun song. Next we have The Return of the Drifter, the title track of this album. The beat is heavy, but the samples are quite low key really. Little light bits of piano and bass. It's quite contemplative and serious. Jehst's flow on this track is just fucking mental. If I haven't already said it, Jehst is just one of the best rappers there's ever been. Top 15 for sure. Maybe top 10. The song opens up perfectly with the lyrics, I walk with a head full of fire and a belly full of hunger pain. Uncontained rage takes hold till I'm numb again. His anger, man. His hunger. He has to smoke just to control his rage. This is a song where Jehst describes the general goings-on of his life and his environment and the people around him. And there are many details that build up to paint this picture of Babylon. I think devilish, sipping on an alcoholic beverage, living with benefit cheats and no-hopers, stoners, deadbeats who sleep on their sofas. And then there's also soldiers hold a cold stare like they've never been scared, but live life like they know their time's precious and scarce. Beef could be hell on earth, better settle it there. And if our sins are forgiven, heaven better prepare. I bring a breath of fresh air, bless polluted lungs. Bunged up from the years, bunning zoots a skunk. I lounge in bluesy clubs with abusive fogs, useless drunks, junkies abusing drugs, and young bloods with their loosest tongues. It's too much. Jehst stays woke to all of this shit, while others have totally succumbed to it. He says he is a cyclops with a third eye, meaning him really should only have one eye, but his third eye is so open, he looks like he has two eyes. It's sickening. Instinct without discipline, living in a world where everybody hears but nobody's listening. People generally know that these ways of life ain't right, and that it's destroying them, but they don't act on that notion. They keep sinking into things like addiction, chemical dependency, you get me? The album ends off with People Under the Weather. Really cool beat with this one, driven by this jazzy bass. I would say it's definitely the weakest song on the album, but it's still really good. It has a very humorous British attitude to it, very relatable, always fucking raining round ends in it. I think my issue is I don't really fuck with a Saviour that much. He's alright, he just sounds like he has a cold. Maybe fitting for this song, being under the weather and that. But Jehst's parts go hard. They're probably the most fun on the whole album, so this song is cool for that. Jehst starts a verse like, it's the ripe age primate, Jehst, a domesticated ape, who celebrates pain in a vegetated state. That flow is just so cool. We have a remix of the Trilogy as well, and if I'm being real, I prefer this one to the original. I mean, it's hard not to. It has Chester P and Kaiser on it. Again, the track has the energy of a cypher, only this time it's a cypher of absolute legends. Chester P is one of the goats of UK rap. All his shit with Task Force and Mud Family and all that was mad influential. I feel he helped massively in giving UK rappers an identity, because instead of trying to bite some American shit, he just went really autistic, started snarling his raps and spitting them in really weird ways. He freed the UK scene really, and people started building up a culture of their own, content that no one was giving them any mind. They were able to just focus on being dope. Chester P's verse here is classic. It's just one-liners after one-liners. It's like he tried to make the most ridiculous verse possible. And you know, it might actually be my favourite Chester P verse of them all. I like this line where he's like, you said I'm nice blood, you'll have to say I'm nice again. But he has all of these moments where it's just hit after hit. To step to me is to put your own legs in jeopardy. You could walk 1,000 miles and still not get next to me. I'm so beyond, it's only future that's ahead of me. To battle me, you'll need to travel to the next century. I'm so hype, even mute people tried to mention me. My arts are sharp mentally, when I think you're meant to bleed. And I got to mention this bit near the end where he's like, so if I was you, I'd be pretty scared. Trying to buy a new set of pants, cause I know you're in a shitty pair. Then you got Kaiser's verse, which is just badass. Its flow here is so tough and impenetrable. I think this part is probably my favourite. I fry fins of these sharks who like biting, surprising them with my 105 tribesmen, their eyes widening with this frightened childlikeness, some high-pitched siren screams when I'm sighted. And then of course Jehst breezes in for his verse. So effortless and relaxed after finishing his album here. Now he's just breezing in a cypher, chilling, you know. That's the vibes I get from it. I really love this part. I scrutinise rhymes till my eyes are sore. We from the underground, raw like iron ore. You get deafened by the lion's roar. I'm stomping on primitive life forms like a dinosaur. This remix is essential. Don't even think of skipping it. If you want bars, this track is heaven. In conclusion, this album is about trudging on, struggling but fighting the things that hold you down. And it pinpoints how having a creative process can essentially beam light into your life and part the grey clouds over your head. It's very deep, very sort of stoic feelings to it, bearing all of this fuckery and carrying on. I've had moments in my life where I've related so much to this album, and I'm certain those times will come again. I think this album keeps one steady. There's lessons and wisdom in it, and even if you're not understanding them, it's present in the attitude and energy of the album. and it's gonna have an effect on you. There's never any giving up on this album, no matter how close to rock bottom we find ourselves. Awesome stuff, inspiring stuff. I give it 9.5 cats out of a possible 10 cats. But yeah, that's about it for this review. Subscribe to the Catman Show, leave a like, leave a comment. Goodbye.